what's up, Freedom fans? It's that time again. Welcome back inside Skip's office. Episode 7 of the Dennis Pelfrey Show underway. I'm Aaron Brody. This is the fifth-year Freedom skipper, Dennis Pelfrey, who is headed to the All-Star game on Wednesday, managing the Midsummer Classic for a second time in 3 seasons. It's almost coming like an annual tradition for you, Dennis. You have the best team in the Frontier League, or at least in the West Division. Get the honor to manage in the All-Star game. I know we talked about it a little bit in the last episode, but man, so cool, and second time in 3 years, making a habit out of it.
Yeah, it's definitely an honor. Like I said, it's one of those things. Getting to be a part of the All-Star game is neat, and it's a nice experience for the guys. Ultimately, it's not what we're here for, but it's a nice little relaxing time for guys to kind of just free it up a little bit and play. And then on top of all that, we get to play into a different league and go up against their guys, the guys we haven't seen. I've seen a couple of them. We're getting to face Jose Brizuela, who was here in 17.
Holy cow!
Yeah, so he'll be in the game. So, we get to pitch against him and play against him a little bit. So that'll be a nice reunion for us, and it'll be a nice trip and a nice relaxing moment because at the end of the day, our guys are pretty tired. I think we talked about it. After we won tonight. We played 21 games in 20 days, and we went 16-5 in that stretch, which is incredible. It's the longest stretch that I've had since I've been managing in the Frontier League since 2015, and obviously anybody in the league this year, it's the longest stretch for any team. Nobody's done what we've just done, so it's a testament to what our guys are and what they're doing. So it's a nice break for those guys mentally and physically.
The Freedom are on pace to do something the Frontier League has never seen. That is a 70-win season, 35-17 as we now enter the break. Certainly a ridiculous season. We'll have plenty of time to talk about the ins and outs of this season, but let's stay with the All-Star game real quick. As you mentioned, it's the first time ever the best of the Frontier League will be squaring off with the best of the Can-Am League. And I'm just curious, for guys that don't know much about the independent ranks, teams, and all of independent baseball, what do you know as far as kind of the talent you'll be up against and how it compares to the talent you see every day in the Frontier League?
Yeah, I think, when you talk about independent baseball, you typically talk about the top 4 leagues. The Frontier League being one of those, the American Association, the Can-Am League, and the Atlantic League. The Atlantic League is on a little different level than, the other 3 as far as the type of guys that are going in there. They have a little bit more money, and they're in, several more ex-big league players and guys that have been there, that type of thing, older guys. The Can-Am and American Association are real similar as far as the talent. They bring, they're a little bit older guys in our league as well. But, I'm a firm believer, and I'll make a statement here that, may not, people may frown upon or whatever, but I think the Frontier League talent is just as good, if not better than those leagues. The difference to me is, because I coached in the American Association as well, the difference is the maturity and the makeup and the development of the guys. Guys are just more mature. Mound presence is better. At-bats are better. But the talent level is virtually the same. And I think that's the same when you talk about, low A, high A, A-ball, and affiliated baseball, and even getting into double A. I think the biggest difference is not talent. It's the maturity of guys. So I think that's what it is.
So you're going to be managing it, which means you get to bring a couple of your own guys with you to the All-Star game. Nobody in the Frontier League has sent more All-Stars to this Midsummer Classic than the Florence Freedom. 6 players, 3 coaches. Just curious if you're willing to share any kind of insights with us as far as how you plan to manage the game. I know we got Ricky Ramirez Jr. voted in as the starter. Are you willing to tell us about any other Freedom players we might see starting that game?
Yeah, you're going to see Jonathan Tripp starting the game on the mound. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that yet or not, but he's going to start the game on the mound to set an early tone. Your question, how am I going to manage the game? I'm going to manage to win it.
Yeah.
I don't think I do anything other than trying to win in any competition that I go up in. So whether it's tic-tac-toe or chess, we got the chessboard there that the coaches play sometimes, and MLB The Show in the clubhouse. I'm 1-0 versus Tyler Hatcher, and Keith Stewart's been afraid to play me. So, anything I'm trying to do, I'm trying to win, and it's no different in the All-Star game for me. It's competition, and I want to be the best at what we're doing. So we're going to be prepared. Our club's going to be prepared, and we're going to go over there and show the Can-Am League what we're all about. You'll probably see Austin Wobrock starting at shortstop, and then you'll see our other 3 arms coming in later in the game.
Sweet, yeah. Mike Castellani is going to be there. Brian McKenna is going to be there. Obviously, you can't start them all, but what would you say the role for guys like McKenna and Castellani will be? Will it be kind of long relief? Will they get more than 1 inning? I know as the All-Star manager, a lot of times you're trying to get guys in. Everybody that gets voted in wants to play. how will you kind of handle how many guys get to go multiple innings versus guys that might get one at bat and check out?
Yeah, I think, we have 11 arms going, and as of today, all 11 of those guys I've spoken with or texted, each manager in our league that has an arm going, and every one of them said they're all clear to throw in the game. So we have 11 arms and only 9 innings, so nobody will go multiple innings. Obviously, the most important thing for our club and for everybody else's club is the second half of the season. So I want to make sure that guys are, not overused or not trying to do too much at the All-Star game to try to get themselves picked up maybe, or, showcase themselves a little bit. So no arm's going to go more than one, and there'll be a few arms that only get, a third of an inning or maybe a two-thirds of an inning. But everybody's going to get a chance to pitch in the game, and everybody's going to get a chance to play from a position player standpoint. I'm going to try to do my best as far as a chess match and match it up the best I can so those guys can be successful on the mound of who they're facing. So give them the best chance to be successful and showcase their abilities.
No question about it. So let me ask you about the Home Run Derby. That's obviously something that everybody knows always takes place on All-Star Weekend. The Freedom have 6 players going. Obviously, Ricky Ramirez Jr., a position player, Austin Wobrock, position player. Tell me Wobrock wants to be in the Home Run Derby or something.
I'm sure he wants to. Everybody wants to be in the Home Run Derby. I think it's a great tool that baseball uses to get kind of everybody in a really relaxed mode and just enjoy the game. Where the wins and losses and the errors and the strikeouts and those things are kind of in the back of your mind. So it's a chance for guys just to kind of relax and just play the kid's game. I mean, that's what it is, and everybody wants to be a part of it. Unfortunately, I don't think Ricky's going to be in it either, but we're only allowed having 4 guys. So those 4 guys that are going to be in, I believe, are Braxton Martinez, Hector Roa from Washington. Martinez is with River City. Hector Roa from Washington. Carlos Castro from Evansville. And the other one is, I can't remember who the other one's going to be.
That's all good. Yeah. I mean, it's not the Freedom players, so how much can you possibly know about every team?
Yeah, I just found out
in the
today,
league. So. But so I guess it's safe to say, though, that if a Freedom player was going to get that opportunity, you wouldn't stand in their way, because we hear a lot about the swing changes. Guys go out there and try to put on a show in the Home Run Derby. They're not the same player in the second half of the season. Do you buy into that? Do you understand it in some ways?
Not at all. I'll tell you, Jordan Brower for us in 17 was in the Home Run Derby, put on an absolute show. And I think half of it was me throwing BP.
That's right.
Because there's nobody better.
Finding the barrels.
I've won 2 Home Run Derbies as a BP thrower, and I've lost one. I got second in the other one. That was with Brower, but he put on a show at Joliet, and then continued his hot hitting that year. I think he finished the year hitting .338 or something, second or third in the league in doubles. But nothing really changes. It's just a switch for guys. I mean, guys can go in there and take some hacks to try to hit some homers, but then most guys at this level, at the professional level, can lock back in and get back to their game swing.
This is the Dennis Pelfrey Show, Episode 7, a Monday ritual, visiting with the Freedom skipper. Obviously, great insights on the All-Star game and how you plan to manage it. Now let's put the focus back on your club. My goodness, you already talked about it at one point, just a lot of games and very few days, 16-5 you mentioned at one point, and 3 winning streaks, all in about 2 weeks apart. The Freedom had won 20 games in 23 in that Schaumburg Boomer series. Talk to me a little bit about how great every day had to be being the Freedom skipper when your guys are playing that well, and kind of what that kind of a mojo was like, because you just don't see that in the game of baseball.
No, I mean, it's a great feeling. It's a scary feeling at times, because like I said, when I think the last show we talked about it, when things are going really well, it's hard to notice the little things. They kind of go by the wayside, and that's where us as a coaching staff, we have to be able to lock in and make sure guys are staying, sticking to the plan and what we're trying to accomplish, because it's very easy to let those things go, when you're winning, because they get magnified very quickly when you start to lose 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row. Things get magnified. So I think if we do a good job of taking care of those things, and I think our coaching staff does, the players can just play, and we stay on them a little bit. They probably think we nag them a little bit like their parents, but we do. It's important for us, to make sure that they understand what is important to us for them, and that's their career. So their career is not today, today's game. It's for this season and then their future in this game. So, if the New York Yankees call and want to bring Austin Wobrock in, I want to make sure that guy goes and gives everything that he can, and he's prepared and ready to go for that opportunity. So that's what's important to us, to make sure those guys are prepared. So if we continue to take care of those little things, then you're going to keep seeing Freedom wins.
Frank Valentino has already moved on as a Freedom pitcher, getting picked up by an affiliated club this season. So if Will Brock goes to the Yankees, he would just be the second player this season to move on from Florence. Obviously, you got so much talent here. You don't win 35 games in your first 52 without a bunch of talent. Obviously, it takes coaching and all the little things that you talk about a lot as well. But, man, one thing that really starts to be, or at least for me, it started to really pan out every single game, is your leadership on this team. It's hard to talk about who the true captain of the team is. Talk about Andre Mercurio, Austin Wilbrock's a sixth-year pro, Caleb Lopez, the dad of the team. The leadership is on point with your crew.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, because we don't rely on one guy. And that's the same for the game, too. We don't rely on one guy to win the game or lose the game. Everybody has everything that they're doing invested in it, their work. And, at the end of the day, they keep each other accountable. And I think that helps us as a coaching staff as well, so we can really lock in on those little things, and we don't have to babysit, so to speak. And I think the housekeeping issues are taken care of very quickly by our own players, and it's hard to find that. And there's a lot of clubhouses out there that don't have any leadership, and they can do some things because they're talented. But at the end of the day, winning a championship is that stuff right there, that what you're talking about.
No question. So here's the situation. The Freedom had a couple of different series this week, but it was a very wacky week. In 2 different series, the Freedom had to make up a game that was either suspended in the top of the 7th inning or just flat out canceled on a Sunday. So it was a lot of baseball this week. The Southern Illinois Miners came to town first, a team that you guys ran into early in the season, and boy, they looked like they were going to be around for the long haul. Had tremendous pitching, were doing great things offensively. Looks like they were going to be a really tough team. The West Division's been very competitive all season, so it wasn't much of a surprise. You guys laid waste to them, took 3 or 4 from Southern Illinois, and I'd love to get your take on it. For me as a broadcaster, it certainly seemed like that was one opportunity where you see yourself going against another really top team and then realizing, wow, over the last couple of weeks or last month, since the last time we saw this team, it seemed like you guys had just completely separated from the Miners.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think that they've done anything different. I just think at the beginning of the year we'd win one, lose one, win one, lose one. We hadn't lost 3 in a row yet. We lost 2 in a row, I think.
Now 3 times because of the quirky scheduling and the June 16th.
So I mean, it's one of those things where we hadn't really tapped into what we were capable of doing, from our standpoint. And I really just try to worry about our club, not other clubs. So obviously our division is very good. Evansville's good, River City's good, Southern Illinois is good. I think Gateway, even though we've handled them every game this year, they're very good, and a lot of those games have been 1-run games. So our division is solid all the way through. So coming into that series, 4-game series with Southern Illinois, we were hoping to win 3 out of 4. If we split with them, that would be great too. I mean, just we didn't want to lose the series, obviously. But things went our way, and we were able to prevail, or whatever you want to call it. But I think it shows you the type of team that we are compared to some of these other teams, where I feel like we are the best team in this league all the way around. We're the deepest team off the bench offensively. Our pitching's done a phenomenal job for us. And I think it just shows, I think Southern Illinois, that club coming in, they were a little tired. And, rightfully so. Our guys should have been a little bit tired too, but, that just shows you what the character of our team is. So I think that really shows the separation of where we're at compared to other teams. It's not the talent, because their team's talented. And every team in our division, like I said, is talented. But at the end of the day, it's that leadership you talk about. It's the housekeeping. It's the little things that we take care of outside of baseball.
So the Southern Illinois Miners came into town, ended up losing 3 of 4 to these Freedom complete efforts across the board. We've talked about it a little bit. It seems like your guys' formula this season, and it seems kind of crazy because it's not easy, but it seems to happen every single day. Get a quality start, let the offense have a little bit of an easier opportunity, score 4 runs, you're going to win. 5 runs maybe here or there, you're going to win. Seemed like that was certainly evident in that Southern Illinois Miners series, going out and getting the quality starts and doing enough offensively. Just talk to us a little bit about the consistency these guys have shown all season, because it's one thing to know what they're capable of and to show it in multiple series at the start of the year, but to just continue to run with quality starts, manufacturing runs. And there have been plenty of opportunities this season where the Freedom offense has done more than just come up with the 4 or 5 runs to win, really kind of getting into a zone. Just talk a little bit about seeing this team be so consistent in what they do well, which is all the little things and doing all the big things too, quality starts and wins.
I think number one, it goes back to our philosophy from day one is guys, we want them to be who they are. And not trying to be something that they're not. So if you're not a home run hitter, not trying to hit home runs. If you're a guy that can bunt for hits, do those things. So if you're a strike thrower, throw strikes. If you're a guy that throws 88 to 89, force the action, those things. So it's a testament to our guys, again, listening to us and implementing the plan of being who they are. And we're going to help them be better, with what they have, but understanding a different approach and those type of things, and just sticking with who they are. And I think that at the end of the day is the biggest reason, to answer your question, is to the consistency of what we're putting together. I mean, if you look at the offense, I think we're second in the league right now in batting average, which is 260, I think, in Evansville's ahead of us by 1 point, I believe. The pitching staff, we're, I think, in third or fourth place now. I think fourth place now. But, I think we're probably the best pitching staff. But the yard we play in, as you can see, the ball starts flying out of here a little bit. Lake Erie comes in here with a sub, 3 ERA as a team, and now their ERA is over 3 because of the ballpark they pitch in. I think it really helps them in that East Division. Most of those ballparks are very pitcher friendly. In the West Division, they're mostly hitter friendly. So, that's the biggest difference. So, in reality, our pitching staff is probably the best in the league. Again, that's just an opinion. And our offense is the best in the league. We don't have. What makes it tough is you can't plan for one guy in our offense. And we have the guy second in the league in home runs and second or third in RBIs in the 9-hole.
That's right, Connor Crane.
How do you prepare for something like that? It's difficult, and it would be tough for me, coming into play against this team to try to prepare for the offense that we have. And then obviously defensively, early in the year I think we struggled, made a few errors here and there, whatever. We were at the bottom of the league as far as defense, but if you look now, I think we're in fourth place defensively. We've now climbed the ladder from being last and turned in double plays to I think we're second in double plays turned. And by the end of the season, we're going to be the best fielding team, and we're going to turn the most double plays, and that's going to be a formula to win.
Dennis is being a little bit modest as well. It is a hitter-friendly ballpark, UC Health Stadium, that we know and love, but also the Crushers had to come in and face the Freedom. And let's just face it, pitching staffs have always seen their numbers go up when they run into the Freedom in a series. So we talked about the Southern Illinois series. Now let's talk about this Lake Erie Crusher series. This team in the East Division, they've been at or near the top of the East all season long, but they came in at 500 with you guys taking 3 or 4 from Southern. You were sitting there 20 games above 500. First half of the season, that's remarkable. 34-14 was your record at the time when Lake Erie came in. They seem like they're maybe a team that tries to implement a very similar formula to you guys. Get that quality start. The pitching number is ridiculous, as you already talked about, for Lake Erie, and making it easy on their offense, and they were able to kind of impose their will in the first 2 and 3 innings, 2 games, 3 innings here this weekend. Ended up falling in those 3 games. And you talked about it in the last episode of the Dennis Pelfrey Show. What was our team going to show when they lost 2 or 3 games in a row? Well, you found out. You came back, won the finale tonight. But just talk a little bit about this series running into Lake Erie. They seem like they're built very similar to you guys.
Yeah, they're tough. I mean, they're, I think so far have been our toughest matchup. I mean, Windy City beat us 2 out of 3, but we've now played 6 against Lake Erie. We've only won 2 of the 6. But I will say that, that 3-inning game, suspended game, we had to come back. We did a phenomenal job that night of the rain delay or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, man, yeah.
Coming back down by 4, I believe.
4 in the 6th inning.
In the 6th inning, scored 4 to tie it. And then we put up a run in that game and, brought in Jonathan Tripp, who hadn't allowed a run all year, and he gives up his first run, which is going to happen. And I think it was kind of a breath of fresh air, for Tripp, because you can feel the pressure mounting every time he goes out there. Somebody is going to want to score a run. And, obviously Lake Erie or whoever it was we're facing, the next guy that Tripp faces, they want to be the team to score a run on. Just like any team that we face comes in here to Florence or we go on the road, they want to be the first team to sweep us, or they want to be the team to stop our winning streak. And, us being where we're at right now, we're like, you call it the Yankees or whatever you want to call it, we have target on our back. Guys are coming after us because, and I guarantee it from that other side, those other clubhouses, they feel like they're just as good as us or if not better, kind of like how we feel about some of these other teams. And they have those opinions, and that's great. I want them to. I love the competition. But, again, it's hard to prepare for us, and Lake Erie did a good job. We had the blown save with Tripp, that 3-inning game. Obviously, it was a different feel for Tripp coming in. Usually it's like 5 hours after BP after he's thrown in. Now it's a little bit different, but we're going to go with our guy. He gave up the home run, so what? Next day, So then we come into the nightcap, the 7-inning game, which I felt like it should have been a 9-inning game. I'm not real sure why we had to play a 7, but, from the league, that's the rule. So play 7 innings, and it makes it a little bit tougher on, our guys and our offense. But we scored some runs. We had the lead, and we bring in Brian McKenna, and again, we give up the, we blow the cheap save hits on a couple cheap hits and, in a hit by pitch. And, it's just one of those things that it's baseball and that's going to happen. And I feel like, our guys understand that. It's one of those things like, oh, what? So what? Next day. So we did that, and then we come out tonight, and we show them exactly what we are and what we're capable of doing, and hats off to them. They beat us in a series. So, but we got another series against them, and we'll go ahead and take care of them.
No question about it. That one will be in Avon, Ohio, at Springer Stadium. We're all looking forward to that one. Maybe potentially a little postseason preview. Lake Erie is right now the top team in the East Division, and these Florence Freedom have been the top team in the West Division, seemingly all season long. So you kind of took us right into the finale with Lake Erie tonight, which ultimately was a Freedom victory. You were also mic'd up in that game.
Yeah.
Tell me your thoughts on the debut mic'd up. How'd you like it?
I love it. After it was put on, and about 5 minutes later, I actually forgot I was there. So it's not.
That's actually perfect.
It's not one of those things that I'm thinking about, and I'm going to be myself out there. So those of you guys listening out there, I might say some things that hopefully that don't get on the radio. But if they do, it's one of those things. I'm a genuine person, and I'm going to tell it how it is and what I think about it. So hopefully it'll bring some nice intimacy to the games, and for those of you that are watching, I think it's a good insight. As to what we do in the dugout and kind of what we talk about at the mound visits. And, I'm talking to their third baseman today. I'm sure that might have been on there today, too. So having some of those good conversations. And there's times where the third baseman on the other team doesn't talk to me at all, so maybe they don't like me. I don't know. So, but, so then I'll try to – I think tonight I did try a couple times just to say a few things to myself that I don't like to talk to myself, but – I felt like I was talking to an audience maybe about some of the things that were going on. Maybe it was on there, maybe it wasn't, about, that pitch was down, or, I didn't feel like that was a strike, or, hey, that's definitely a hit, those things. So.
Yeah, if you want to talk about some of the highlights of being mic'd up today, I've got a litany of them right here.
Sure.
One of them, it was when Emmanuel Marrero was at the plate. He turned on 2 inside pitches, hit him hard. And I think maybe there was a little bit of it won't actually qualify as a tussle, but I think maybe you and your coaching staff, you were wanting to pitch away maybe, and they were wanting to stay in, talking about how his swing plays to work him outside.
No, I was saying to stay in. I think everybody else was wanting to go away, but I think his swing path, he's got one path of the bat, and if we hit that, he's gonna do some damage. But and I think Gibby, that's where Gibby falls into a little bit of trouble with the sinker that he throws. Some of those lefties hit him pretty well because of the bat path. If he has a fastball like McKenna where it stays pretty true and it doesn't have the sink, then it gets over the bat. But I think a guy that's trying to yank, especially at our field when the wind's blowing out to right, just keep pounding him in. If he does catch one, it's going to be foul. He's going to continue to be foul, and then he's going to try to make a little adjustment where it's going to blow him up. So that was kind of what the conversation was, and where we were trying to go with. But I think we ended up throwing him something off speed away, and he had a pretty bad swing there to end the game. Yeah, you also completely called. It's almost like Tony Romo over here. Dennis knows what's going to happen before it happens on the field. Brandon Pugh at the plate at one point. Mercurio was standing on third base, and you told him it was either going to be a chopper or a flare to left. Yeah. It ended up being a flare to left. Flare to left, yeah.
How'd you know that?
I've seen so many games and so many swings, and just the way that it happens. It's 50-50. I got a 50-50 shot, right? But no, it's just wanted him to be prepared there. I think we really wanted to try to score that run there, just to kind of get a little more separation. So I wanted Mercurio to be a little more aggressive and to kind of look for that chopper. Mercurio is very good on the bases. You typically don't even have to tell him things, but I like to remind the guys just so they don't get caught up in the game, kind of watching or talking to the third baseman, those things, because it's important. Base running at third base and base running in general is important, and I think it goes by the wayside for a lot of clubs, and we harp on it all the time. One more cool moment you were mic'd up for today. Danny Graves got the start for the Freedom. The former All-Star closer for the Cincinnati Reds was going to be out there for a max of 1 inning, or until the Lake Erie Crushers had 1 base runner. He would allow a base runner, but he got an out first. It would be an Aaron Hill single that took him out of the game. What was that moment like, walking out there to the mound to take out Danny Graves and bring Tyler Gibson, your ace, into the bump? It was really no different than taking anybody else out, I don't think. I don't really play into, all the hype on certain things. I try to stay as even keel as possible emotionally, but, it was neat to have him out there, and the guy was great. He enjoyed being out there, and I think those 3 guys, William Opeña, Felipe Lopez, and Danny Graves, they stayed virtually in the dugout the entire game, and it was great for our guys. One of the best experiences that we've had from an appearance standpoint from Major League Baseball players that have come in here. They had brought an energy in the dugout. Our guys were talking to him the entire time. It was fantastic to have those guys, and obviously starting Danny Graves on the mound was great, and him getting the first out there and setting up the double play for us for Gibby.
Well, I could tell that Willie Mo Pena talked to a few of your guys today. He must have had a real long conversation with Tyler Reichenborn. Willie Mo put on a display in the Home Run Derby pregame, and Tyler Reichenborn put on a display making a Home Run Derby out of the ball game with the Lake Erie Crushers. 2 big flies for the leadoff man tonight. Both Oppo tacos. Taylor Bryant would follow with an Oppo taco himself. So 2 right-handed hitters, 3 home runs, all to right field. Had to be good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the approach. I mean, I think with a lefty on the mound, a soft lefty on the mound, they're trying to get you to chase out of the zone. We're just looking for something up elevated away, and put a good swing on it. Reichenborn, he does well when he stays in that right center field gap. And he was fortunate enough to get the barrel on a couple of them there. And I think he had 2 more hits where he pulled 2 hard singles through the left side in the 5-hole as well. And Taylor Bryant followed up, that first inning with a nice double of his own down the left field line. Then comes up later and stays with that good approach and hits the ball to right field and goes out.
Man, awesome stuff today. The Freedom back on track, 35-17. We're at the All-Star break. It's the halfway point, and the Freedom are the best team in the Frontier League with that 35-17 record. This guy's headed to the All-Star game. He'll have 6 of his players joining him there at Rockland County, New York. Going to be a lot of fun. So as we kind of segue towards the end of this episode of the Dennis Pelfrey Show, I've talked to you long enough about it. You got some sweet tats on that left arm. I want to get some stories on those.
Yeah.
Let's start with this one right at the top on the forearm there. What's the story there?
Machete mindset. It's kind of I actually got the shirt on today too.
Perfect.
Didn't know you were going to talk about it today.
Well played.
Little shirt I designed, and it was one of those things where myself and a former pitching coach here in 2015, Chad Rhodes, kind of came up. We have a company we started where it's called Alpha Evolve, and it's kind of where we get into the mental side of the game as far as athletics in general. But Machete Mindset is basically it's a mindset where we're trying to carve our own path and create our own path, and it really boils down to keep it short is when coaches and guys are trying to help younger players. I see it all the time where there's, you got to swing like Mike Trout, or you got to be like Javi Baez, and we want you to carve your own path, and we want you to be the first Aaron Brody, or the first Andre Mercurio, not try to be somebody that you're not. And it kind of ties in with everything that we do here, and it's one of those things. It's like a life motto for myself, So it was important for me to get it put there, and actually Mike Valadez, Mikey V, if you're watching. He's the one that did this piece for me in California a few years ago when I was out there for the California Winter League, and he was a guy who played for me when I was in Gary as a coach, and he played in Schaumburg for a little bit after to finish his career up, and phenomenal guy, phenomenal artist. He's out in California in the Los Angeles area, so if anybody's out there and needs some work done, he's the best. So Mike Valadez, so that's that one.
I'm sure Andre Mercurio is happy that you went out to Cali to get that tattoo as well. He seems to be a big fan of that.
Yeah,
California state.
He's a big Cali guy, but he's a Northern California guy. So and he tries to throw numbers at me all the time about Texas, but again, Texas is the best country in the world.
Texas is the best country in the world.
That's
no
right.
question
That's right.
about that. All right, so what's this one here?
This one here is this is a little wolf kind of guy. It's my character. We talk about our guys having a character, because virtually we are as entertainers, and
That's right.
So we're on the field. So we'd look at it. I love movies, so I tie a lot of things into movies, and in spring training we talk to these guys about. They can be whatever they want to be on the field. The fans only know them for what they see on the field, just like an actor on the screen. You don't know that person, but you know what they play or what they portray on the screen. So you have the better guys, like Christian Bale and some of those guys. Tom Hardy can play a bunch of different roles, and you believe those roles on the screen. That's why they're so good. And then you have guys, that can play one role, like Liam Neeson is the example I use all the time. He's got the one role, but it's a very
cool
good
role.
one. It's a very good one, but. So they have the power to become whatever they want in their character and be whatever they want to be, showcase for the fans, and then they can separate it when they get home. So my character, that kind of portrays my character. His name's Lambo, and he's the closest thing I can kind of tell you that what he's like is the movie Underworld, The Lycans. Okay. He's something similar to that, but Sweet. Obviously my character is better than anybody else's, and he's going to beat everybody's, you beat everybody's butt. So, and your character should be the same to mine. So, that's kind of what that ties into too. So, it has a lot of meaning for me as well. So, but that's Lambo. That's my guy.
That's Lambo. We'll save the best.
If I take him home, best for last. So I was going to tie that in together. My wife's name Giovanni. put it on there nice and big so she can see it. So hopefully the fans
Absolutely.
can see it there too. So,
Yeah.
I got the wedding ring, I know, but I want that there too, because it reminds me I get to see it in I haven't seen her in a few months and those things. So, and I got to make sure that this guy Lambo doesn't go home when I'm with Giovanni. I got to have my other character that I have as a husband and a father.
That's right.
Because if Lambo goes home, it's a problem. So
Yeah, keeping the balance.
yeah,
That's
so
perfect.
that's what it is.
Does Giovanni have Pelf 12 tattooed anywhere?
No, she doesn't have any tattoos yet. She wants one, but
Okay.
I don't know if she's a little scared to get them or whatever. But she's got a few ideas of what she wants, so I'm sure she'll get one here pretty soon.
That is the obligatory question that I have to ask. How bad does it hurt?
For me, not really at all.
Not at all?
Not really at all. I mean, actually, I have a piece on my back that took like 5 hours.
Oh, wow.
That I actually fell asleep while the guy was doing it. So it's kind of at first, you feel it a little bit, but it's kind of a numbing, almost relaxing type thing, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, that might be the only thing I'll say. Don't take his word for it, guys.
Yeah,
this
don't
is
take-
just Lambo talking.
Yeah, that's right.
This is
That's
Lambo
right.
talking. He's superhuman.
That's
Tattoos
right.
hurt. Everybody says it, but not Dennis Pelfrey, man.
Well, I got one more there too.
Oh, you do got one more. Well, I'm not going to cut it off then. What's
the
what's
kanji
there?
symbol for truth,
Okay.
truth. So, and that kind of in 2015, myself and Chad Rhodes and Brian White, and there's a sign in the office, or the clubhouse in there that says the truth, and that's what our movie is called. So, this is basically part 5, truth,
Okay.
truth number 5. So, our season is a movie. And our guys, we talk to them all the time about what role they're going to play in the movie. You can be the main character, or you can be a side guy, or whatever. But your role is important for the movie to be successful. So that's the truth. So it all kind of ties into that that movie, that character, and all that stuff. So.
Well, this 2019 Florence Freedom movie has been a hell of a script so far. 35-17, the top team in the Frontier League. This is their fifth-year skipper, Dennis Pelfrey. This is his show. The Dennis Pelfrey Show airs every Monday on social media. Keep it locked. At Florence Freedom, at Real Brody, at Rob_Rundle. Thank you always for your time, and thank you for your time, Pelf. This is getting better and better by the week.
Not a problem. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.